Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza Khan. You are watching Foresight. Viewers, in February 2025, the groundbreaking release of DeepSeek open source artificial intelligence has been described as a Sputnik movement for artificial intelligence globally, forcing the United States of America to rethink about its own technological edge while igniting debates across the world on artificial intelligence global power dynamics. This has sparked millions of questions, lots of queries, particularly when we are talking about after the DeepSeek. Open source model paved the way, whether it's going to pave the way for artificial intelligence democratization, or it heightened the security risk by making advanced artificial intelligence accessible to all, even to the rogue elements. There are lots of questions about the national security as well. Again, whether the restrictions in the garb of national security are going to stifle the real-time innovation rather than supporting it. Also, does this mark the shift from the sheer computing dominance to the new era of innovation and particularly the efficiency-driven artificial intelligence? And also, when the DeepSeek came, it seems that there would be a door going to open for the smaller countries, particularly Pakistan and all other global south. It also gives us an idea that whether there are going to be the AI blocks among the nations, whether there are going to be a global rivalry among the giants who have the technological edge, whether the cutting edge technologies would be accessible or there would be more restrictions, and those were accessible because of the geopolitical relations or having priorities. And also the ethical frameworks, whether it is going to challenge, the DeepSeek is going to challenge to the Western ethical frameworks, or there are lots of questions about the labor, the employments and all others. We will talk in detail what is going to be happen in the real world. We have in our studios Dr. Yasar Ayaz. He is the chairman and central project director of the National Center for Artificial Intelligence (NCAI) at the National University of Science and Technology, Islamabad. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence here.
Thank you very much.
And with him, Syed Mustafa Bilal, a young lad and technology enthusiast as well, research assistant at the Center for Aerospace and Security Studies, CASS, Islamabad. Thank you very much, Mustafa, for your presence here.
Thank you, sir.
And online joining us, Dr. Wajahat Qazi. He is advisor on artificial intelligence and digital transformation to the private tech companies and faculty member at the ComSets University, Islamabad, Lahore campus. Thank you very much, Dr. Qazi, for being with us. Thank you very much for sparing time. Dr. Yasar, as we have run short of time, so right from the beginning, we have to be very brief on that. DeepSeek release. There are lots of articles and the publishing and the lots of programs and documentaries already there. That was considered as the Sputnik movement for AI, forcing United States to confront the shortcomings in the AI race. So how do you see this whole competition now between China and United States? Does it fuel the risk of unnecessary technology conflict, restrictions, or you can see that this competition in raw computing power to be one based on efficiency now rather than to be any other form? And if so, whether these are paving way for AI development for Pakistan or any other smaller country?
I think you very nicely summed up a lot of information in the question, because efficiency is the new name of the game now. Because DeepSeek highlighted that even with the smaller number of parameters, you could achieve the same kind of efficiency which people were achieving with 70 billion, 90 billion parameters, in the model, which means that essentially looking at what is good data or what is the required amount of data when we want to, for example, perform certain computing for generative AI to run. So I think that this is good for the world in the sense that when we reduce the total number of computations behind the large language models, this will be better for climate change, it will be better for the environment, it will be better for the energy consumption, and I'm sure the US will also bounce back. China is already doing it with very less number of parameters. Llama, actually the recent version that they've introduced, they've also reduced some of the parameters, and which is the Facebook large language model. Definitely. And others will also join this race.
So
I think it's a very healthy
what's
competition.
there for Pakistan, the countries like Pakistan in that?
I think that previously with very huge amounts of technological computation requirement for large language models, a lot of countries like Pakistan used to think that there is no really hope to deploy any on-prem solutions locally. Now here in Pakistan also we already have on-prem local solutions running. In the HPC at NUST we have some versions of the large language model Llama already running locally, which you can access with a local server, and you don't need to connect with anybody outside Pakistan to actually access that AI. And some of them are
your point well taken. Mustafa, what about the open source AI? Because DeepSeek has given a new dimension to the artificial intelligence. Earlier we were more concerned about the proprietary approaches and whether it gives an idea that it is going to be a democratization in AI and or it actually accelerate the misuse of AI, the security risk are there, given the open source allow any nation or entity to use it, even the rogue elements. Do you think so?
Well, firstly, the release of DeepSeek shows that China, which for the longest time has been criticized for having a technologically closed off ecosystem, is now opting for an open source approach. That was evident by the speeches of Chinese officials at the Global AI Action Summit, in which they tried to frame China's AI strategy as being much more inclusive compared to the West. And one example of that is how DeepSeek is now ironically advancing OpenAI's original altruistic goal of advancing AI adoption globally. Consequently, Sam Altman had to concede that OpenAI has been on the wrong side of history with regards to not opting for open source AI development. And earlier we had Meta chiefs, AI scientists going on record in saying that open source models are now not only catching up to these proprietary models, but also going to surpass them in the coming years. And
so we have run short of time actually, so we will be more quick on that. Dr. Yasar, a DeepSeek release prompted the White House to announce a national security review and lots of other measures. So how should states balance national security concerns with the need to foster an innovative and competitive artificial intelligence industry? Could excessive restrictions on AI research backfire by slowing down the domestic progress?
They certainly would if we put any restrictions like that. In fact, the initial legislations in almost any country have been about how to promote artificial intelligence and how to let it innovate. AI as a field is innovating. The field of AI is changing. Because, for example, now we know large language models, but large language models are essentially just the window for machines to understand what's written in human language.
Okay.
What's coming next is actually models of the world. For example, how the whole machines, how a car operates, we have to take that into a large action models for the car.
Okay.
We have to take how a robots operates, with a large language model for robots.
Obviously.
And same for medicine, same for judiciary, same for fashion. We in NUST also, we already have algorithms that devise shoe designs based on generative artificial intelligence. We already have algorithms reading up literature to looking at historical records to see how heritage.
But you think that the restrictions would actually hamper the real-time AI development?
I think that if restrictions were put in place, innovation would not be as fast as it is right now. People should be let to think freely. If there is any, for example, legislation done, it should be done in the direction which promotes innovation.
And obviously with the consensus of the AI family, no doubt about that.
For sure. And this is a survival necessity for nations now.
Obviously, very right, very right. Dr. Wajahat, DeepSeek has been hailed in China as a national triumph. On the other side of the matter, the United States has taken lots of measures on that. So, do you think that it has the capacity to fuel the national narratives? Basically, then could this ideological divide in AI development lead to fragmented and the regionally controlled AI ecosystem, where nations actually guard their models the way they guard actually the nuclear technologies. Do you think so?
Yes, definitely. Because if we look at the way the AI is progressing, AI is at this same stage where once the nuclear power was. So it's a symbol for national pride. It's a power and geopolitical asset at the same time. So based on these things, yes, there is a digital divide. But the interesting part over here is this, that the world is evolving. So this digital divide is no more about the decentralization or decentralization. If we look at how the China is promoting the openness uh, by releasing its foundation models, at the same time, the ecosystem of their, the LLM models or the AI is still in the close proximity. Whereas the Western world is having a different narrative. They are talking about, the openness of the models, but at the same time, it's more like market driven. So I think that we are entering in the world where innovation requires the openness and the closeness at the same times. But yet, what we have to understand is this: the problem is larger, because at the same time we have witnessed pandemic in the past. Once it was like space race. Now it's about the AI race. So what I think is that just like the space race, the AI race is going to transform into more collaborative, aspect, because the challenges and the stakes are higher. Because after AI, the way AI is progressing, we are entering into the world of quantum computing, advanced cybernetics. We're talking about biological computers. So having said this, I think the transformative technology is right now at the horizon, where unilateral control or unchecked competition could lead into so larger risks. So I
Democratization
think AI,
process will lead to
yeah.
something which is going to address the issue of the global south, particularly the countries like Pakistan. So if the deep seek model is going to be sustainable in the current scenario, do you think there is a lot of opportunity for Pakistan to develop and get into the roller coaster related to the developments of the AI, and have some sort of a space when it comes to the AI development in a country like Pakistan?
Yes, when we talk about like the AI progress, it has two sides of the coin. First is the applied side of the AI. The second one is the AI, the core AI that is based on the foundation models. So I think Pakistan at this stage can take the leverage of applied AI, as the openness is already there. We have so many large models over there, so many open source models over there. But I think that in order to have a strong footing in this, upcoming era, foundation models are the primary operating system for the AI. So I think Pakistan needs to take a double strategy. For short term, yes, applied AI is going to work for us, but at the same time, for longer strategy, we should focus on developing our own foundation models due to a number of reasons. Number one, the strategic autonomy as the nation, as a country, we should have, that will cover the ethical constraints, that will cover so many policy shifts. Having said this, the cultural relevance, that is very, very important, because Pakistan has a very interesting demographic and cultural space. So from that point of view, having our own native foundation models can provide
Your
us
point well
so many
taken. Your
advantages.
point well taken, Dr. Wajahat. Dr. Yasser, Trump administration has positioned actually the artificial intelligence as a key pillar of the job creation, with lots of companies pledging massive investments in the United States. But DeepSeek efficiency now suggests that there is no need of lots of people, lots of jobs or lots of infrastructure, but you need a squeezed and a very efficient team. You need professionals, and that can actually give you what you actually want. So what Pakistan has to do in that scenario, because on one side there would be an unemployment, there would be lots of issues. On the other side, we have to create some sort of a highly skilled manpower or human resource, and we need lots of policies, we need implementation, and we have to be very quick in that, because it's going to be a very super fast race.
Yeah, according to McKinsey, the number of jobs that is going to be created by artificial intelligence in the coming few years is about 133 million, whereas the number of jobs which is going to go out is about 400 million in total. So it's more than 260 million jobs going out. Recently, we've seen that there's massive downsizing by Singapore and other places as well. And you're right that with AI, that it's actually not just the number of jobs that will reduce, it's the trend of jobs that will shift.
Yes.
A lot of new jobs will emerge, which we had no idea about before, like prompt engineering, for instance. Nobody knew a field like prompt engineering before we actually had large language models.
Yes.
So there will be more jobs coming up, I think more than 133 million, which people cannot imagine right now. That's one. Number two, people have to become good with using AI, even for programming. There are some of the, like Devin, for instance, one of the large language models can actually produce 19% of the total world's, 13%, 13% of the total, software industry's applications from a single line of code, from a single line of prompt actually, which you can tell it.
Definitely.
And it can create, the latest large language models can make a website in 19 minutes. So no human can be as fast as that, but humans have to be able to give the right prompts to tune up the creation of the website, to tune up the creation of the software, to turn it into what the other human wants.
Definitely.
It will just create a different job which will be easier for humans to do, and the output in terms of finance will still be there. So
Definitely.
it's a reskilling that
your
is required.
Your point well taken. Mustafa, AI ethics, that is the important debate. And DeepSeek actually challenged the Western overall debate which is going on. That is basically hover around the biases, the privacy and the accountability. So when this sector is now rapidly rising in China, could we see the competing ethical frameworks actually emerge? And will there be any sort of a divergence, or how do you see overall, what are the risks involved in this rise, that when AI ethics become politicized across the globe, particularly by the power structures?
Well, the global discourse on AI development has largely been dominated by Western perspectives. At the Global AI Action Summit, the agenda points, the key themes that revolve around transparency, openness, security, safety, accountability, whereas China has...
But ultimately we have seen lots of differences there.
China has a different approach though. Back in 2023, China mandated that AI-generated content be aligned with socialist values and state narratives. And in 2024, the Cyberspace Administration of China actually started imposing these rules. And so we're seeing that parallel ethical frameworks are emerging, and that would create issues for integration as well as adoption for other states across regions and across the world, where they would have to align with either ethical framework, depending on, well, which country they are more closely aligned with.
Your point well taken, Mustafa. Dr. Wajahat, many companies across the world admitted that they may have been on the wrong side of the history in keeping their models closed source. So, does the DeepSeek indicate a shift towards more openness in the Western artificial intelligence domain, or will corporate interests always push for the proprietary models? Could the open source movement in artificial intelligence become a competitive advantage for China, where AI development is increasingly decentralized, and what risks actually arise from making advanced AI freely accessible most of the countries, particularly when we are talking about the developing world like Pakistan?
Yes, talking about the openness and the closeness source for the AI, I think in order to catalyze the research process, openness in the AI ecosystem is mandatory. But at the same time, there are a number of risks that are involved with the open AI models. So yes, DeepSeek seeks success, and the rise of other open source models like Mistral and LM and so on have put a pressure on the closed source AI giants like OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google. But as we have seen that recently, a number of Western companies have embraced the open source models. But yet, what we need to understand is this, that the corporate interest and the monetization of the AI services, that is something that cannot be ignored. So I think that large number of the groups who are working in the domain of AI will always be hesitant in adopting openness. And one of the reasons for that thing is the risk that is involved. For instance, talking about safe AI, when we talk about open models, So the safe AI comes in is in the question. Security threats is over there, economic disruption, and talking about the regulatory challenges which the government may have to struggle in order to control AI models, and most importantly, AI arm race, because with open source movements might accelerate military and surveillance-based AI applications globally. So I think the future would be something a balance between the openness, safety, a hybrid model that might work for us.
Your point well taken. Very short, Mustafa. With the AI revolution accelerating, some experts actually argue that the artificial intelligence could be the key to overcoming space exploration challenges, including autonomous navigation, resource extraction, and the deep space communication particularly. Could models these like DeepSeek when we are talking about which require fewer computational resources, actually be better suited for the space applications? How might AI disrupt the current balance of power in the space exploration, where US and Chinese programs are actually dominating each other?
Well, space missions have historically been constrained by energy consumption constraints as well as power constraints, because, well, you need a lot of computing power to carry out navigation tasks. But DeepSeek actually shows that you do not need those massive data centers. Because of its efficient algorithms, it could actually enable space exploration to take off, especially in developing countries, which do not have resources to establish those financially expensive data centers. And we're seeing that China's local governments as well as its space sector is embracing DeepSeek as well.
So, your point well taken, Dr. Yasar. Very brief. AI has long been viewed as a critical component of the modern military strategy. With the US and China both investing heavily in AI-driven defense systems, if the DeepSeek has to manage or has managed to build an advanced AI model with lower cost and the fewer computational resources, what does this mean for the military AI development? Could we see a proliferation of the AI-powered defense technologies among smaller nations?
We certainly could, and actually AI is very widely regarded as the most major technology after gunpowder and nuclear arms in military history until present. Many scientists have remarked it like this, and it's commonly, there's a very major letter which was written to UN by a lot of scientists actually, which signed it together. So, but so far artificial intelligence in the military market is a very small portion of it. For example, the total market of AI at the end of 2024 was about 279 point something billion US dollars, out of which only about 16.2 billion is the defense market for AI. This year,
in future it could be.
It certainly could be, and it will make the use of AI possible for smaller countries, which is actually essential for them, because when another, for example, big army comes in with artificial intelligence and automation tools, a whole different kind of defense has to be there for smaller countries as well. So it's important for their security.
Definitely, you are absolutely right. Thank you very much, Dr. Yasar. We have very short time today. Unfortunately, thank you very much for your presence. Thank you very much, Mustafa, for your presence here in the studios. And thank you very much. So nice of you, Dr. Wajahat, for your presence online. Thank you very much for your candid views as well. Viewers, in short, if we just describe what is happening after the arrival or the release of DeepSeek from China, there is a sheer competition between the West and East, particularly when we are talking about China and the United States, because artificial intelligence development is now going to be a central part in the overall global development in any field, in any sector, and that's why United States and China are too eager to have this competition go on. And that is the point, that efficiency is going to drive overall AI development. Whatever would be more efficient, that would be having more weightage, as the DeepSeek has. And then because national security is going to be compromised when it comes to the artificial intelligence, it means there would be more restrictions, and when the restrictions would be there, there are lots of problems for the AI innovation, research and development overall. So we have to think about it when we are going to carve such policies regarding the AI development in Pakistan. Although there are lots of jobs are going to be lost, but there are lots of job opportunities as well, they are going to be created. But we have to be focused on that. According to those policies, those policies which are going to be carved, those will actually dictate what we are going to have in future. China wants decentralization of the AI development, while unfortunately United States wants its dominance over that, and that is the main difference. Democratization is basically the essence of the Chinese DeepSeek and all other AI developments. Already we know that the military and defense is going to be dominated in future, not now, but for the small countries it's going to be a challenge, particularly for Pakistan as well. Pakistan has a chance when it comes to the AI development, and we need short-term as well as the long-term measures and planning how to develop the overall AI atmosphere in the country, and how we have to harness ourselves to be an AI development country through which we can get a lot of things when it comes to Pakistan's economy, social protection and all others which is necessary for a brighter Pakistan's future. This is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.